We all know that German engineering sometimes goes over the top, but today we're going to be looking at this 2011 Audi A4, which just hit 200,000 miles, to see whether the German over-engineering is a good thing or a bad thing for the consumer. So right now my Audi is overheating. It's a 2011 with 200,000 miles, and it just started overheating. It's starting to have some more issues now that it's getting up in the higher mileage mark. Overheating usually shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's generally the thermostat, the water pump, or the radiator. But of course, on the German cars here, they kind of tuck away the thermostat and the water pump. And then there's even a belt that drives the two, a separate belt. I've taken a lot of other cars over the 200,000 mile mark. For example, this 2015 GMC of mine has 240,000 miles on it. And really, American engineering is just so easy sometimes. Let me show you where the water pump is on this. So on this GMC, if we were to have to do the water pump, it's just right down there by that pulley. And where my finger is, right under that hose there, is the thermostat. So it's just about a 15-minute job. Now these American trucks are pretty much expected to go over 200,000 miles, especially the 2500 and 3500, which this is. If they don't reach 200,000 miles, you're a little bit surprised. This dump truck here of mine has 330,000 miles on it and still going. But when you get to the German cars, oftentimes it's actually surprising to see them even reach 200,000 miles. And a good example of their overthinking sometimes can be found in where they located the water pump and thermostat. So under the hood, the water pump is tucked way back in there. You can't even see it under the cover. I mean, maybe I can pull this off. So it's tucked way under there. And then back here, it's driven by another belt which goes to the crankshaft, so the serpentine belt doesn't run it. And luckily the timing belt doesn't either, which is something that I really hate. But there is a third belt that runs just the water pump. And that's what I think is broke on this. That's a problem you usually wouldn't see on most other cars besides VW products. A third belt just to drive that water pump. So we're gonna start this video by fixing that overheating issue and then seeing if there's any other quality issues with maybe possibly overthinking some designs. And I'll give you just one more example of overthinking right off the bat. If you look on this engine, it's a 2015. There's no dipstick you'll find anywhere. That's because they don't let you check your own oil. The computer of the car has to do it for you. Now the computer in this car, of course, broke, at least the oil sensor thing did, so it won't even tell me what my oil level is at, and I can't check it myself manually. That's just something that's unnecessary extra step and just annoying for consumers. But anyway, let's go ahead and start fixing this thing up. Now this part is nice. The oil filter, how easy they make that. So we got to take a bunch of stuff off of here to get to the thermostat. But step one is drain the coolant. Little switch there wasn't working anymore. Like that easy access switch, so I had to pull the hose off. So we'll start removing stuff. This is the coolant reservoir here. There's a couple hoses with a clip on them, both of these. Then the boost tube, throttle body, and then some wires down here. So we'll start with the coolant reservoir. So now we're going to take off the throttle body, which is right here. Okay, and then here's an electrical bracket here. This engine's been swallowing a couple of bolts that I've lost and I can't find them, but I guess I'm going to have to go to the hardware store. Okay, there's not a lot of space in here, but the thermostat and water pump, which are one unit, are back there where that connector comes out of. So we have this hose to remove. This is where the belt is. Gosh, you really can't see this well. The belt is under this cover though, where my finger is. This connector has to be undone. And then there's bolts, and then you pull it out, sort of a squeeze method. Oh, and then this hose here. we're at the point now where you can actually see what I'm doing. So this is the water pump here. Back here behind this is what I think in my head is broken. There's a belt. This is just a belt cover. It covers the belt that runs the water pump. I think that snapped. That's my guess. So we're gonna first take that off, see if the water pump's still spinning. We got that cover off, and I was right. Let's see if we can pull this belt out of here. Usually it's the bottom part's controlled by the crankshaft, so I don't want to just pull it. And not that I'd break the crankshaft, but be gentle. But anyway, you can see this is the belt. Goes around here. Water pump is still pretty much turning freely. I mean, that feels real good. And here it is. It broke up top. It is a genuine Volkswagen belt, so probably the original too. It did last 200,000 miles, if it's the original. I actually don't know if it is or not. Well, the only place that had the water pump belt was Volkswagen dealer, which is good enough. Might as well get OEM. But it wasn't $8 like I said it would be. It was $44. So it's an expensive little piece. But at least I don't have to buy the whole water pump, which from them is like $225. Let's go back and put it in. Here's the belt. I did put it in already, just because it's really hard to do, so I figured I wouldn't film it. It just was me struggling. If you're doing it yourself, back out this 12mm bolt on the bottom, but don't take it all the way out, just back it out, and then you can slide the new belt in. I had to use this crowbar to slide it in, and then you can sort of use that leeway to also run it over the top here. And it takes a little while. It's a lot of tight space wiggling, but there you go. Now we just have to put everything back together. Okay, so everything's put back together. We're just gonna fill her up with some coolant. It's definitely gonna need a jump start too from sitting for so long, and then we'll fire it up and see if everything works. Started right out. So it's shooting me that heat warning, which may mean I either broke a plug somewhere or didn't plug it back in right. I'm not exactly sure. I'll go check. Yep, so I just forgot this plug right here, which goes in the coolant reservoir. We'll go ahead and plug that in. And that got rid of the temperature warning. Taking it for a little spin now to make sure everything is all good. The brakes are definitely a little seized up from sitting. You can hear them good. But I got the heat on to bleed the system, and it's blowing hot. So the thermostat and water pump are definitely working again. This is hot air. Heck yeah, guys, I think it's fixed. So there you have it. She's back running and back running well, which there has to be something said for that. It's well, it's a 13-year-old car going on 14 with high miles. And definitely wasn't treated the best in the world. You can see the rust and everything like that. I am the second owner of this car, and during my time of ownership, it hasn't seen very many car washes, I'll be honest. So there does have to be something said for the quality of this particular Audi. I couldn't tell you for certain whether VW's engineering is over the top or about right for what it is, but I will say that they make a very, very comfortable car, a very quick car, And actually, this has been generally fairly reliable for the past 200,000 miles. The biggest service issue was the steering rack that went out at around 180. Other than that, this car is mostly original, and with the lack of care that it's been given, it's still running today. And I have to say, that's pretty impressive. Of course, I wish that they didn't overthink some things like the dipstick and even driving the water pump off of a separate belt. That's a little silly, but every car has its flaws. As a consumer, you have to decide for yourself whether you're willing to spend a little bit more on services and repairs. But from my personal experience with Audi, it's been a generally reliable car with some difficult repairs here and there, but once you get them fixed, it goes well and it goes fast. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.